While Genghis Khan was conquering Bukhara and Samarkand, his eldest son, Jochi, led the Third Mongol army to continue the assault on the Khwarezmian Empire from another front. Jochi's first target was the city of Signak, located near the Syr Darya River. As usual, the Mongols followed their standard protocol, sending envoys to demand surrender. But the city's defenders, mostly Muslims, were defiant. They shouted that they would fight for Allah and immediately executed the Mongol envoys, hanging their bodies from the city walls as a show of strength. They hurled insults at the Mongol army below, showing no fear. Jochi was furious. He ordered an all-out assault. With more than 40,000 troops, Jochi divided his army into 3 rotating waves to maintain pressure. For 7 straight days, the Mongols attacked relentlessly. Finally, the walls of Signak were breached. Jochi ordered a massacre. For 3 days, the Mongols slaughtered the population. When the killing was done, they looted the city's treasures, then set it on fire. The once proud city of Signak was reduced to ash and ruin. After Signak, Jochi turned his attention to the nearby city of Jand. The news of Signak's destruction had already spread. Hearing of the Mongols' approach, the city's commander fled under cover of night, leaving the people without leadership. When the Mongol army arrived at the gates of Jand, they again sent an envoy to negotiate surrender. But once more, a group of hot-headed locals tried to kill the Mongol messenger. They surrounded him and began beating him. Just as things were about to turn deadly, a respected scholar within the city stepped in and stopped the mob. He reminded the people that one reckless act could lead to the destruction of their entire city. Bruised but alive, the Mongol envoy took the opportunity to explain the situation calmly. "If you surrender now, no one will be harmed. We promise not to massacre the city." After some discussion, the residents agreed to surrender. But even after this agreement, 2 days passed and the gates remained closed. The people feared the Mongols wouldn't keep their word. Jochi, growing impatient, assumed the delay meant betrayal and gave the order to attack. To everyone's surprise, no resistance came. The Mongol troops climbed the walls with ease and took the city without a fight. Because there had been no bloodshed, Jochi spared the city. However, he did punish the ringleaders, a group of about a dozen men who had assaulted the envoy. They were executed. The rest of the population was pardoned. Still, the Mongols forced everyone out of the city, plundered it thoroughly, and took all valuables. Afterward, the residents were allowed to return, though their homes were emptied of wealth. Jochi then appointed an official to govern the city under Mongol rule. The people of Jand had lost their gold, but kept their lives. Compared to what happened in other cities, that was a fortunate outcome. As part of the Grand Mongol campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire, Genghis Khan appointed General Alakai to lead the 4th Mongol army, tasked with conquering the upper Syr Darya River region. His force numbered 30,000 troops. Their first stop was the city of Fanakat. Following Mongol custom, Alakai sent envoys into the city each day to offer peaceful surrender. But the city's Muslim defenders, driven by strong religious conviction, refused. They declared they would fight for Allah and killed the Mongol envoys. The result was war. For 3 days, the Mongols laid siege to Fanakat. They launched stones and gunpowder bombs into the city using trebuchets. The damage was brutal. Walls crumbled, fires raged, and the defenders suffered heavy losses. On the 4th day, the defenders, realizing they were no longer fighting for faith, but simply trying to survive, surrendered. What came next was typical of the Mongol strategy for cities that resisted. The Mongols forced all soldiers and civilians out of the city. All captured soldiers were executed. Women and children were enslaved. Strong young men were forced into front-line units. Skilled artisans were spared and selected for labor. Everyone else was killed. After looting all valuables, the Mongols set the city ablaze, reducing it to ashes. Next, Alakai led his forces to the city of Ujan, located in what is now Leninabad, Tajikistan. Ujan was commanded by a famous Khwarezmian general named Temur Melik. The city was well defended with 20,000 troops and was surrounded by the Syr Darya River, making it naturally fortified on all sides. Temur Melik had destroyed the city's floating bridges before the Mongols arrived, knowing they lacked boats or the equipment to cross the river easily. Even the Mongols' trebuchets could not reach the opposite bank, so the Mongols devised a clever solution. They would build a path across the river. With 20,000 Mongol soldiers and 50,000 forced laborers and prisoners, they cut down trees and hauled stones, tossing them into the river day by day, slowly building an artificial land bridge toward the city walls. Realizing that the Mongols were gaining ground and that he couldn't hold out forever, Temur Melik made a desperate escape. One night, he loaded his entire garrison onto 70 boats and tried to sail downstream to safety. But the Mongols were already prepared. They had raced ahead to the lower reaches of the Syr Darya and set up iron chains across the river to block any boats from passing. When Temur Melik reached the traps, he could only curse and abandon ship. As soon as his men came ashore, Mongol cavalry sprang the ambush. The battle was short and brutal. The entire Khwarezmian garrison, 20,000 strong, was wiped out. Only Temur Melik managed to escape on foot. Years later, Temur Melik secretly returned to Ujan, trying to blend in with the locals. But someone recognized him and reported him for a reward. The Mongols captured him and he was executed publicly, his head displayed as a warning.